Laith, you've been out filming and preparing the videos, footages from what's going on in the southern part of Lebanon. What was the main goal of that? What are you doing, and where are you gonna publish that? I assume that you're gonna publish them on Free Palestine TV. Go ahead and let us know about that.
Yes, we wanted to record documentaries about the new occupation posts, the areas that the Israelis extended into Lebanon. And, there is 5 new posts that are encroaching into Lebanese territory. And this is the declared ones. But also there's 12 points that are occupied prior to the war starting in 2023 that Hezbollah was trying to liberate before that. And so it's a lot of work, and we had to go, of course, to dangerous zones in the frontline villages, and we couldn't film it all in one day. So we filmed today the frontline villages and these new Israeli posts from the Naqoura on the coast all the way to Ait al-Shab, which is like halfway through in the border with occupied Palestine. And we entered some villages that we haven't before entered throughout this war, and we got permits this time to go in. And we had with us a correspondence, a war correspondence for Al Manar television, who helped explain things. And the amount of destruction that we saw in these villages, I mean, you think you would get used to it, seeing all the other villages that we've already been to, but it now clearly feels that the Israelis, and with the Americans behind them, are trying to empty the villages in the front lines. And, a few months ago, there was still residents in these villages, but the Israelis keep on attacking. And the government of Lebanon is not doing its job, either rebuilding the electricity or the water infrastructure, or even providing military defense for these people. The Lebanese military is staying away from even these villages. We didn't see any Lebanese posts inside villages. They're all out. So it's clearly they have almost abandoned these villages to the Israelis. So this situation is pretty intense. And hopefully the first part of the documentary, it's going to be 2 parts so we don't overwhelm the audience, will be coming out in the next few days. And on our way back, we were driving, and there was an attack near us, halfway between Sur and Saida in the south on the coast. And we went to the scene of the attack, and this was an attack by a fighter jet with huge missiles, which hasn't happened since the ceasefire, quote unquote. So we got to the scene. It's an industrial zone, and there's a lot of shops, like woodworkers and metal workers and so forth. And the explosion was so huge that these buildings, parts of them, flew up the hill to the road that we were filming from. As we're walking around, there was a lot of metal sheeting that's like the roofings on the side of the road. And then we noticed that there was a man under, and he was a martyr. He got thrown around 600 meters away from the explosion site, a worker in one of these shops. And there was 2 injured civilians. The villagers were very angry. You could see they were really angry at what had happened. We interviewed some of them. The language that they were using was, I think, beyond anything that we've heard in in all of our 2 years from the people on the ground. People were angry openly at the government and the military for failing them, and saying that they will not give up their weapons and they will defend their land, whether it's against the government of Lebanon and the army of Lebanon, or against the Israelis and the Americans. These were very high sentiments that we didn't hear before. So it was a very long, day, 12 hours of work in the field, and it's all of these reports that we recorded will come out on our website, freepalestine.video, and people can find us on all the social media at Free Palestine TV on YouTube, Rumble, and X and Instagram. So hopefully we can convey the words of the people to the rest of the world, and the images of the realities. I think most people don't understand how destroyed the south of Lebanon is, the frontline villages. It's like scenes from Gaza, and it's accessible for people to come. It's really disappointing to see how the international media that is saying, oh, we're not able to cover what's happening in Gaza because the Israelis are not letting us. But in reality, they have access to Lebanon and the south of Lebanon, and they're not coming anyways. It's an excuse that they're saying they can't enter Gaza because Israel doesn't allow them to. Me as a journalist here in Lebanon, Israel is not, I don't need the permission of Israel to go anywhere I want to. And in fact, I ended up in jail for 3 days here in Lebanon because I didn't care also whether the Lebanese government wants to give me a permission or not to go, because that's my duty. I have to go and show the audience, the world, what's happening on the ground. And if the Lebanese government wants to give me a permission or not, that shouldn't stop me. And so international journalists could go into Gaza, whether the Israelis like it or not, if they actually know their duty and they are truthful about what they're doing, and they're not doing it just for money and fame and a job at BBC or Associated Press. If they really believe in the message of journalism and reporting, which is to be the surrogate of the audience and to bring the truth and the reality to those who can't come to the ground like we do. So I hope our work is making a difference in the understanding of the audience in the world.
Laith, we had yesterday or the day before, we had Hezbollah informing the Lebanese authorities that if the current hostile positions against the party are maintained, it will have a negative effect on the parties' cooperation regarding the implementation of the ceasefire agreement. What is the communication? What is the nature of the communication that is happening between the two, the government and Hezbollah? And why is Hezbollah feeling that way?
Well, Hezbollah has 2 ministers in the cabinet, and its allies, its immediate ally, Amal movement, has another 2 ministers, and there's other ministers that are part of the block of support for the resistance. So they have a direct in to what is happening in the government. The military now, which is now supposed to be planning the action of disarming Hezbollah or other resistance groups in the country. Inside the military, for sure, at least 40% of the generals are Shia, and therefore, of course, Hezbollah knows what's happening inside the military. And knowing these facts, this is why Hezbollah makes a statement like this, because it knows that the military will not be facing Hezbollah, will not carry arms against Lebanese citizens. And given that there's now even a bigger coalition of support for the resistance, since 2 weeks ago, there was a new front organized with the Syrian Social Nationalist Party and other Arab patriotic parties and local Lebanese liberation movements, all forming a front with Hezbollah and Amal, it's clear that Hezbollah knows that the wide sentiment in Lebanon, not only after watching the genocide in Gaza or going through the mass destruction of Christian, Druze, Sunni, and Shia villages, not only Shia or neighborhoods, and also after watching the genocide of minorities in Syria at the hands of the HTS and the Wahhabi death squads with it, there's no way that the Lebanese public, we can say for sure, over 85%, if not 90% of the public is against the disarmament of Hezbollah. So all of these things gave Hezbollah's position a backbone, a strength, that it can speak in a higher voice to the government and is assured that it will win in any confrontation with this government that now has no military force to implement its objectives that are drawn up in Washington and Tel Aviv, and that the street in Lebanon will rise up if such a situation is enforced or attempted to be enforced by the government. So the statement by Hezbollah is now sets a new standard of where we're going. And the fact that Hezbollah also threatened to end the coordination south of the Litani River with the military and the government, this means that Hezbollah is threatening to return into full military activities in the south of the Litani if the government, goes over the will of the people and the will of the military itself that is at this moment incapable of defending the country.
Laith, politically, how is the situation of Hezbollah, and how do they have the leverage when it comes politically? I'm not talking about militarily.
Yes, they have the leverage politically. We heard the Nabih Berri, the president of the Amal party, and he's also the spokesperson or the chairperson of the parliament. He, in a statement, said that the red line is the Taif agreement. And the Taif agreement, if our viewers don't know what it is, it's the agreement signed by all the political parties in Lebanon at the end of the civil war in 1990, with the guarantees of, at that time, the Syrian government and the Saudi kingdom. And part of this is that any national relevant decisions have to be done by consensus between the sects in the country. So, Hezbollah and Amal are representing at least 40% of the population. And this is the lowest estimate of what is the Shia population in Lebanon. And so to attempt to make decisions that are national interest, that will set the direction of the country without the consensus of this community, then there will be unconstitutional, the government. The other thing is that if Hezbollah and Amal and their allies pull out their ministers from the government, first, as a first step, not going to the sessions, as has happened right now, that means the government cannot convene a cabinet meeting with the quorum, which is 51% have to be there. 2/3 of the cabinet have to be there for any national security vote. So there will be no votes taken, and the government will be paralyzed, right? And then every ministry becomes an island of itself and deciding on its own without prime minister interference. So this is now a clear beginnings of a collapse of the government of Nawaf Salam, the prime minister. The next step, if this continues, is the resignations of the ministers, which will collapse permanently the government of Nawaf Salam, and we will be back into a vacuum of no prime minister in power, and then things will fall down to the other two presidents posts, the president of the parliament, Nabih Berri, and the president of the country, General Joseph Aoun. And that means that the actual driving force behind the American and Israeli plan, Nawaf Salam, will be out of the picture. And it's impossible for Joseph Aoun, who is a general, ex-general, and representative of the Christian community in this trilogy of, the three posts have to be given by sect. The president is Christian, the prime minister is Sunni, the speaker of the house is Shia. This triangle of power, because also Joseph Aoun is from the south, and his own village has been attacked, a Christian village in the south. Those all guarantee us that if the collapse of Nawaf Salam's government happens, that the whole train that the Americans put on the track to end with a disarmament of Hezbollah is going to collapse. And then we will see what happens. I think Hezbollah even has a plan for a replacement for Nawaf Salam already in the works.